Hey gang, we're here to talk about trigger control today as part of our rifle series to help you shoot a little bit faster, a little bit more accurate. So let's talk about trigger control in that sense. So it's a very important thing. Now let's assume for a second you all know how to aim. We're going to put our dot on the target or line up our iron sights. Okay, so let's check that box. However, let's talk about trigger control, and it's an absolute critical skill to get that down to help you shoot faster and more accurate. So when we talk about trigger control, what we're really talking about is operating or moving that trigger in a manner that does not disrupt the position of the rifle in this case as you are operating said trigger. Okay? A lot of times we see folks that they'll go ahead and operate that trigger, and they'll violently operate that trigger, therefore disrupting that position of the rifle. Not what you want to do. And it's not that they're violently operating the trigger. You can operate that trigger as fast or as slow as you like, okay? But if you operate it, say, quickly, you can operate it quickly without disrupting the rifle. It all depends on the person. So the first thing is all about getting that relationship, the muscle memory, the neural pathways from the brain to the finger on the trigger to understand how that trigger feels, how that trigger works, and where the slack, break, and reset points are on that trigger. Okay, so Brendan's going to go ahead and demonstrate a little bit what we're talking about in that particular sense. So let's take a look at how he operates this rifle with a specific focus on his trigger finger and the trigger control. Okay, so the first thing you're going to see here is take a look at Brendan's finger on the trigger as he brings up the rifle. He takes the safety off, his finger goes on the trigger, and you'll see, take off the slack for a second there, Brendan. So his finger's on the trigger, but he's not taking in the slack. So the first thing he's going to do is put his finger on the trigger, then take into that slack, and now he's at the wall. So knowing where that wall is important, because in this particular case, operating that trigger to the wall does nothing to actuate the trigger. You're not actually doing anything, you're just taking in that slack. On his particular trigger setup, as many of your triggers might be, is a two-stage trigger. So he has a 2-pound press to get to the wall, followed by another 2-pound press to go from wall to break. So he's at the wall, and then he'll go ahead and squeeze back smoothly to the break. If you notice that as he did that, he did not move the rifle. Now he's at the break right now, and he's going to softly let out until he feels that click, which is that reset point, thereby allowing him to go hang out at the wall and then squeeze again, break, and then he's pinning that trigger back, finding manually his reset, and then now he's ready to go again. So if you see, he has absolute trigger control in this particular case, keeping that rifle steady as he squeezes the trigger. Now, if you don't know how your trigger works as far as it being 1-stage, 2-stage, is it a 4-pound press, or if it's a different weight, then you'll want to get accustomed to that so that way you know where those points are. Now what we're going to do is we're going to see Brendan come up in just a moment, not to say real quick, but come up smoothly where it's almost that as soon as that safety comes off the rifle, his finger is practically at the wall standing by to break that shot. So let's go ahead and see that now, Brendan. So as he comes up, he's just going straight to that wall because he already knows where it is. Now let's go ahead and see that again, but let's go ahead and see that a little bit quicker, not kind of normal speed. Go ahead. Okay, he's already at the wall. He bypasses from the touch and all that slack, goes straight to the wall. Now from here, you're going to go ahead and see real time a shot pin to reset on this one. Stand by. Go. Okay, and you see that pin to reset. He went straight to the wall as he was coming up, and there you go. Now, another thing that you can do, once you've mastered this relationship with the trigger, you can then graduate to something called resetting under recoil. Now, resetting under recoil is a fancy phrase, but really what it means is while the bolt is cycling in Brendan's case, his trigger finger is going back to the spot where the muscle memory knows is that reset point. So the bolt coming back forward, resetting that hammer is going to catch up to Brendan's finger and not the other way around. So on this rep, Brendan's going to come up, he's going to go reset under recoil, and his finger is going to go right back to where that wall is, or that reset point, ready to take another shot. So this will minimize the excess movement, making him faster, and the movement from the wall to the brake is obviously reduced because you don't have to take in that slack, making him more stable and more accurate. Okay, so let's just see it one more time. Full speed, let's do 2 shots. Stand by, go. And there you go. Hey gang, find our videos enjoyable? We have a lot of videos from training tips, modifications, challenges, and all sorts of things to make things interesting and valuable for you. So hit that like button, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a video. We drop a video every Tuesday of different subject matter. So make sure you hit that like and subscribe button.